Hello there, Arturo. I am going to talk about the six factors that influence food trends. Here is my friend Henry Kurununji. Is correct?
Henry, yeah.
Henry. Okay. Where are you from?
I'm from South Africa, and my original country is Uganda.
Okay, very good. Uganda. Okay. The six factors in factor number one is economical conditions.
Yeah.
Okay? Is how does the amount of money you have affect what you eat?
Okay, depends. There are some kinds of food that are cheap, some kinds of food that are expensive. So, and the expensive foods are always foods with quality, foods that are good for the body, and that is what makes them expensive. So, the more money you have, the better you eat. The more quality of food you eat, the more amount of food you eat, and it is better to have a lot of money for you to eat better. But sometimes other foods are cheap, so it depends on the desire and preference of the person. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks. It is cheaper to prepare you how food or to eat in restaurants.
Definitely, it is cheaper to prepare your own
Yeah.
food in the house.
Exactly.
Especially if you're a family. Me, I don't prepare food because many people don't have the time, and sometimes it is difficult to cook for one person. But if you're like two or three, it's more cheaper, it's more better, it's
Okay.
more convenient to cook
It's
food.
true. Okay, the second factor is faster and cheaper methods of transportation. Okay? How do change in the way food is transported affect the way people eat?
You're talking about transportation. Transportation depends on what kind of food you're gonna transport. Because if you're transporting fish and it gets spoiled on the way, it would affect the way you're gonna prepare, the way you're gonna eat it. So I think transport. Some people eat food that has been transported for many days, and it affects the way they eat. It affects the way they get into service of how to prepare for the food, how to preserve it, how to cook it because it's already past the date. So, and sometimes some other foods are quick. Rapid, I don't know how to say it, but they are really quick, and yeah, I think transport is a big factor,
Okay.
especially for the countries that don't grow their own foods. Then transport is more convenient for them. They have to use transport, but it affects the way they get the food to themselves. Yeah.
Okay. Is locally grown food available in stores near you?
Where I live, the food is available. We have carrots, we have onions, we have beans. Here they call them menestra. We have fish. We have everything is a little bit natural, and plantains, bananas. They are always there. Very many kinds of foods, and I believe I always eat fresh food that is grown from here.
Okay. Scientific research is other factor. And how advanced in science or research findings affect the way you eat?
Science. Science has changed everything. For example, most of the foods have been grafted. They are no longer natural. They are no longer really fresh. They are grafted to make up other kinds of foods. A food that has been growing for 8 months now grows for 2 months. And so sometimes the taste changes, the taste changes and its quality, it's not fresh like an original kind of food.
Okay.
So science, chemicals used, and all the nutrients added in change the taste, change the kind of food, change everything.
It's very bad for the children.
Yeah, it is very bad for us,
Very
for
healthy.
everybody, for the children who are coming up. It's really, really bad.
Okay. Food is more or less healthy today.
Because of the chemicals that have been applied, I don't think it's really helpful, but there are still foods that are natural that have not been affected. So it depends what kind of food you buy or what kind of food you eat.
Okay, thanks. The fourth factor is advertising.
Advertising?
Advertising.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Where are you some place you see or ears ads for food?
In the streets, in the city, everywhere there are advertisements for food, restaurants like KFC, McDonald's, Hello Food, and many others. They are everywhere.
Okay. What kinds of food?
What kinds of food? Like chicken, chips chicken, hamburguesas, pizzas. They're
Hot
everywhere.
dogs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those. I love pizza.
Yes.
Okay.
Have you ever bought food or eating at a restaurant because of ad?
Yeah. Advertisements on TV have made me. I've always looked up to foods that have been advertised, especially with my friends, or when we're at the airport traveling somewhere far, or we're in a picnic. Then we always have to look for the food that is common, is known in that place.
Okay. The five factor is world cultures.
Cultures.
Okay. Cultures.
Uh,
How your eating habits or preference being influenced with other cultures?
Well, I look here. I came in Ecuador and all my food habits were changed. Like I found new food, new kinds of way of preparing the food. So culture is a big thing. If you went to USA, if you went to Europe, if you went to Africa, if you went to Asia, definitely you would meet new foods. And so culture changes everything. The way you prepare, the way you eat, what kinds of food you eat as well. Yeah.
Are international restaurants available near you?
There are many. There are many. Right now, international restaurants are everywhere. Yeah, because there are world-class restaurants, coffee places, and restaurants that advertise for food. KFC. I already talked about McDonald's. They're everywhere.
Okay. The last factor is change in the workforce. How do your work or studies habits affect your families or your eating habits?
When you got a good job, you eat well. When you're sacked from your job, you suffer the deficit and you don't eat anything, like you don't have the money to eat, you cannot feed your family. So your work habits, if you're a good worker, you get promoted, you get money, you feed, Or else a person who works harder, has a business, does something for himself, he earns more, and so the family is stable, the food is stable, That is what I can think.
Okay. The last question is, has an increase in the number of women who work full-time affects meals for anyone you know?
Yes, I've seen many women who are responsible for their families. When they work for long hours, they reach home when they're tired and they cannot prepare anything for their families. And so I don't object anything to do with work. Everybody has the capability to do whatever they need, but I think some people who are responsible for bigger families should be given an opportunity to work less and take care of more. I don't know, but just for immediate thinking, this is what I could think. But on the other hand, depends on the personality. Depends on what somebody likes. It depends on the family. Depends on where you are, where you work, and how you work. Some people are still energetic. They leave work at 5 p.m. They go home and prepare food. It's okay. It's not. But some people, I've seen women who stay alone and they cannot get time to prepare their own food because they are busy working. So work changes and affects everything.
Okay. Thanks for interview.
Oh yeah, thanks. Good questions.
Okay.
Ask me again more tomorrow or next day.